Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including The Promised Neverland, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Andy Potter.
Hello.
And Steve Zeck.
Hello.
We are back to talk more The Promised Neverland, the new winter 2019 anime, though that is very big, very plot thing that's airing, and it's the third episode, 18/10/45, that we'll be getting into today. We previously talked about the first two episodes in separate podcasts here at the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com. Search for Overly Animated Anime on iTunes to subscribe to our anime feed, which you'll find our Promised Neverland podcast in. Or we cross-post all our podcasts to our YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. Big spoilers for this episode and all previous episodes of The Promised Neverland. Big plot show, so make sure that you are caught up in everything. However, we'll not be getting into manga spoilers. Michelle and Steve have read the manga, but they will not be spoiling anyone, but they'll be giving our manga perspective here. No future spoilers in the comments or anything like that, please. But yes, let's get into this episode of The Promised Neverland. Michelle, what did you think of 18/10/45?
Well, we learned a lot of stuff. I was wondering how this was going to go, but I feel like every episode's, at least episode 2 and 3 both feel like we had a lot of, the kids talking to each other and slowly figuring things out and trying to consider what to do. And that's more or less what's been happening with episode 3 too. And I'm here for it because it's really interesting. I also kind of low-key love Sister Crone. And I like her. I don't know. I love how she's like kind of really scary, but also like a little ridiculous. Like she'll talk to herself and her doll and she'll like sing songs, but then like when she's down for business, like she's a force to be reckoned with. And I think that's kind of awesome. I don't know why I'm so high on her, but I'm here for Sister Crone. I'm team Sister Crone. Like I don't want her to win, but like I'm here. I think
that's what being team person means, is you want them.
Yeah.
To win.
Yeah. Well,
so you want her to kill all the children?
She's kind of a wild card, though. So.
Yeah, she feels like a wild card. I don't know. I wanna find out more about her.
Okay.
I enjoyed this episode. We learned a lot of things, and that's good because I know you guys had like a lot of questions last
well,
time.
Yeah, of course.
So some of those things were answered, and that's good.
We'll talk about what's definitively answered here. Maybe a lot is posited at the very least. Yeah. Okay. Andy, what did you think of this episode?
I like this episode, but I think a lot of me liking this episode and the last episode, episode 2, is that I'm under the assumption that a lot of these things won't work out well because everyone in the group is making a lot of assumptions. They're making a lot of guesses about how things work, and I'm kind of waiting for them to make a guess and it not be right, because that's kind of what the show seems to be building up from my perspective, from what I'm seeing. But I mean, this is still fun, like as fun as this scary thing can be. Like I'm enjoying myself. It's probably the best way to put it. Like I really like Sister Crone. Like Michelle said, Sister Crone is positively terrifying at times in this episode, and I'm questioning if she's even human at times. But I also really, really like that they're still doing these really interesting shots I'm going to say camera, but it's not really a camera. But there's like they do shots from like they make it seem like someone's watching the main characters at all times with the camera, like from behind bushes and like from between books in the library and stuff like that. And I really like that. And they keep bringing back the clock imagery. I just think it's a really tight show for that, from that perspective, in terms of how they're presenting everything to us, the information and the characters. And I really like that. And I'm just still completely on board with seeing where this goes. And I think that's good for like just what this seems to be, just like a plot dump episode or an exposition dump episode.
Nice. Okay. Good stuff. Steve, what did you think of the episode?
Oh, it seems to me no matter what the show, I kind of on the same wavelength as Michelle. I'm also love Sister Crow, man. She is awesome.
Yay!
Like about her though is she. You know what we said in episode 1 about how there could be a complex relationship between Isabel and the kids that. There's just kind of like a history between them. With Crone and them, there's no history. They're just playing enemies. So there's not going to be there's no chance that she would hold back against them. She has no emotional attachment to them, and they don't have any emotional attachment to her. And yeah, I love how crazy she is, but how she's deep down, how she's very capable too. And it does seem though she's not completely on like Isabella's side. She's got her own agenda, and you kind of wonder if like Emma, and Ray and Norman and the others can maybe try to use that dissent between the two adults against for their benefits. That's what I would do. Put them against each other. Take advantage of that. So I would not fully trust Sister Crone. Though if you made like a little deal with her, I would watch my back. And I do want to talk about one character. Hopefully, though, this is the first episode really features one of the kids, Phil. Phil is just something about Phil though.
What do you mean?
Phil?
What do you mean?
We don't know who Phil is.
He's a little boy. He's a little man boy.
Yeah, he's like a little kid. He's one of those younger ones. He's one of the younger ones, and he's very smart. He's the one who when they're playing tag with Crone, that she almost kind of gave away Emma's like where she was. Like said, Emma. While
and then Emma picked him up.
Yes.
That was Phil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how people when we read the manga originally had theories on that kid that that maybe we'll get to that later. But
okay, we'll get to some theories. Yeah, I thought this was the breakout episode, and I want Michelle and Steve to resist saying too much because the end of this episode posits there's a traitor, so we can't talk about the supporting cast too much. But I think this is the breakout episode for Gilda, which is the glasses
really?
girl.
Yeah, she was
I'm so happy. Yeah, Gilda's great.
I think Gilda is heavily being speculated by this episode, posited by this episode as the traitor. That would be definitely my guess. Yeah,
it's a red herring.
It might be. Presumably, it's a red herring because it seems very blatant. But
when Emma's like checking the baby's ear for the tracking device, Gilda's like trying to talk to her, and then you get that just that static shot of her glasses.
You get the creepy anime glasses.
It's like a classic anime thing. Yeah.
So
like I'm a person.
If she is a traitor, Dylan, do you think she's like willingly the traitor, or is this some conscious thing?
We'll speculate on it. Okay, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is another good episode. I think that it's still continues to be a big step down from episode 1, but it's there's nothing that I didn't like as much as the like shonen battle scene last episode. So that's good. I think we avoided that. But that being said, there's maybe nothing I loved as much as like the Isabella like jump scare kind of dark hallway at night thing from episode 2. I think there's a lot of like solid stuff here, but maybe nothing that jumps out too much at me. Definitely like this is Crone's episode, like we've been talking about, and I think that she's interesting enough here. And we get like, so this episode is like half a bunch of throwing stuff at us that I didn't expect to see. Like I didn't expect to see from the perspective of Crone and Isabella talking. I didn't expect to see the perspective of Isabella calling the demons, and then a short scene of the demons, like just from their perspective.
You said you wanted more demons, and they are.
And I don't remember if that was in the original manga or not.
It was.
Okay, it's been such a long time. So I remember reading that it was not sure, they weren't revealing if Isabella knew anything or not, that they were kind of waiting for that to be revealed. So I don't know, it's been such a long time. So this is kind of new for me too, in a weird way.
Good. That's good. But yeah, that's I didn't expect to see the demons. I did want more demons. I don't know how I feel about the cutting to I would have liked to see the demons in relation to the kids more, but I guess that's not where we're at yet. But at the very least, it was interesting.
Are you sure there maybe not need to be demons around?
Isabella, Gilda is a demon in disguise, obviously.
You think?
So,
I originally, when I read the manga, I thought Phil perhaps was the demon.
Phil is not a person yet in the show. Okay, I don't know who that is.
Smart.
I'm with you. I think he just made up a name.
I'm pretty sure you made up Phil. Yeah, it's not.
Phil, Phil is the onion of this show.
Okay,
oh my god!
Yeah, okay, we're done. That's true so far because I don't want to talk about him. Gilda, I barely know Gilda. They blatantly said her name once, and that's the only time in this episode they got her name. But we saw the demon's perspective, and we saw the perspective of the moms, and then we saw from Crone's perspective.
Actually, not moms, mom and sister. Yeah, that's a very important distinction.
She's not a literal mom yet. Yeah.
Mom Isabella.
But I my point being, I kind of like the second half of the episode better, which was more consistent, more of one thing, playing tag. Like we're training the kids playing tag, and then Sister Crone's playing tag, finding them. I thought that was more solid, I guess. I got my footing there. That reminds me of the first episode. We're just jumping around a lot, a little bit too frenetic maybe for me in the beginning. It's very exciting, but I want to tell a more coherent story, I guess.
I'm pretty sure I did
all
that.
connected.
There are like 4 chapters in this episode.
We're barely through anything.
Yeah,
so it's all a lot of stuff
I assume this is one of the things that will be better looking back on the season, but it's none of it was bad. It's a lot to throw at someone who doesn't know what's happening.
It is.
Yeah.
And one thing I still can't get over is the animation logo at the beginning of the episode. It's just so against what the show is about. It's so like positive and like kid friendly.
This is a kid-friendly show, Steve. Okay.
It's cute kids. We're not.
Neverlands are so happy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. What's the top story here? I guess it's Crone, right? Like she's definitely the focus of the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, not having seen, not knowing what's up with Crone, what was your reaction to her this episode?
So, knowing the show, like I was kind of prepped to believe like she was going to be not a good force to the kids, and that's correct. She's she's pretty creepy. But the thing that really surprised me about her was the part where we obviously got to see her talking with Isabella in private without the kids around, and then the following, I think it was right directly afterwards, where she was in her room alone with the kid, with the doll. I mean, the kid doll, and it really, really shined a light on the fact that Isabella and Crone are really messed up in the head. Like there's something wrong. It seems like there's something wrong specifically with Crone, and most likely I think with Isabella as well. Like I think we're going to see more about her later.
Yeah.
No, I think that's
that's my assumption. Like that's what I think the show is trying to tell me, that there's something more going on with Isabella and Crone based on what we see here with Crone, because Crone is really, there's something wrong with her. Like I thought she was a robot a couple of times.
This is my feelings though on Crone and Isabella, like from the beginning as I read the series, and I don't know if you people agree, but I feel in a way that they're just as much victims of this as the kids are in terms of all this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that they're not victims, but they can still be messed up if they're victims.
Yeah.
Something caused something to mess them up.
Okay. The point being, Crone is particularly displayed as unhinged in this episode.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Thank you.
She definitely is not normal.
She just bounces off the walls, and the scene of her talking to the doll in particular is specifically meant to show her being unhinged, because she treats it like a human child. It seems like
maybe that's why she can't get a promotion yet.
Maybe that's why. Like, we saw you with that doll, not this year. Sorry, Crone.
Yeah,
I mean, and I guess this implies that like this might be an implication about the fact that she can't have her own kids. Like maybe I think that's kind of what I got from this. Like she's not, like she physically is not allowed to like give birth to a child of her own. Like that's kind of like what I was getting a vibe from this scene. Why she had the child doll.
No, that's a good question, because like I swear the kids at the beginning of the episode, they're asking like, oh, well, yeah, so like a new kid was brought to replenish the kid that was killed. Where did we come from? Like, were we here from the place that kid initially, like where were we conceived?
Where it feels like a through line between those two things. They talk about where did this kid come from? Then we see Crone with a fake child with her. Like it feels like we're supposed to be thinking about where they're coming from.
I kind of wonder maybe if that child represents maybe a loved one from her past that she lost.
That's also where I jumped, but it feels more relevant if it's about like her inability to have a child of her own. Like I don't necessarily like that plot line for some characters, but I mean I think it makes narrative sense for this world.
There's the other option that, so like we get some important information between Crone and Isabel, right? Because before we're like, so like they're demons maybe and humans. How does that work in a society? Who's in control? And we really get the sense from this episode that the demons are seemingly in control, and that lucky humans have a place in their system. And the thing that's like I think really fascinating about Isabel and Crone is you get the sense of hierarchy, right? Like, okay, if you're good enough, you can become a mother, but that's something you have to work very hard to get. And that's why Sister Crone, like initially she's like, oh, like I've heard about you, Isabella. Like you have the top farm or whatever in the area. You're known for having this reputation of the best kids. I want to be like you. And like she's almost like she's offering this kind of like friendship and mentoring. And Isabella totally is not here for it. She slaps that away. She's like, remember, you're like my assistant. That's it. They could have brought anyone. It's not like I asked for you specifically. And that's when I feel like Sister Crone really turns on her and is like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna try to like
that comment is very
get this role myself.
That comment put me your suspicion that she said didn't ask you specifically. Like, do they know each other from the past? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I didn't ask for you specifically. I was like, oh, they knew each other. But that's the only line that hints at that.
You know, Sister Crone reminds me of her Isabel's relationship. Sister Crone reminds me of like a Queen Bee's minion. Or, someone who's just going to try to use the queen, like a mean girl like Queen Bee, and she's like the lackey who's just trying to plot and scheme to get to her spot.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of what's happening here. Yeah, the firm thing we learn about how humans work with the demons, I do think is what Michelle was talking about with this hierarchy. Like that is definitely what the episode's presenting. In terms of like they're lucky to be where that's unclear. I think they speculate in the beginning. Are adults who obey the demons under control of demons from birth or after they're captured? So, and that's not really answered, I think, by any of these scenes, but we're definitely like Isabel's reporting to the demons. And then Crone, is kind of like reporting. Actually, if Crone's reporting to Isabella, she was posited there.
Actually, I get the impression Isabella was reporting to Grandma.
Isabel's reporting to Grandma. And then who's reporting to the demons? Well, we don't know. Yeah, so we don't know who Grandma is. Grandma could be a demon. Grandma could be a person.
But it does imply.
I don't think.
But it does imply there's another human around.
Yeah,
like
human.
It's interesting that there's not more. We haven't seen any male human adults yet, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, and
or
like is
potentially female demons either.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We don't really know. We don't really know what.
I don't know how you would tell, but that's
they have male voices to us, but
yeah, that's true.
One of the most striking lines of the episode, I think, is this first from this Crone and Isabella scene is the first thing Crone says, which is "Thank you for an opportunity to return to this side," is what Crone says. This is one of the least explained lines, I think, of the episode. What does this side mean, right? Like,
I don't know.
We've been talking about Truman Show theory this whole podcast, and I think this is a big supporting evidence for Truman Show theory.
I think it might not be like individual Truman Show things for each farm. It might be like one big Truman Show thing for like a bunch of farms. Dylan, that's what I'm trying to.
This side makes it seem like there's a demon realm and a human realm, right? Like, all the farms are in the human realm, and then Crone was trapped in the demon realm or something, and apparently that sucks for humans. Like she said,
or there's just a really bad like corporate office in the demon realm, and it's really boring.
Yeah, maybe it's just boring there. Yeah,
my desk job. Thank you.
Yeah, she just wants field work. Yeah. But this line, and by the way, Andy, I went back and rewatched the beginning of episode 1, and I saw what you meant with the sun flickering on in the beginning. I think this is like not Earth. I think that's what I'm thinking now.
So you felt that too, Dylan, that it was really unnatural?
It's not clear if it's an effect by the show being stylistic or if it's like but it feels like the sun is turning on as opposed to the sun is rising.
Yeah. They take a second to like the fact that they like show it to us that way, like it feels like we're supposed to see that.
And it's very early, so it's like this is important. Like
I kind of wonder. Yeah. Come on, were these humans they have, were they people kidnapped from Earth and brought to this planet to farm, or?
Yeah, it could be that demons turned Earth into their planet or something. It could be that they took them to another planet. But point being that there's some sort of demon realm, and when we cut to the demon's perspective, it did not particularly look like Earth or anything there.
No, it's just a lot of space. I mean, you have stuff by like the fence with trees, but that could be the orphanage. So like, who really knows?
Yeah, it could just be inside. So another. I think hierarchy is a good theme for the episode because in the demons scene too as well, they talk about him.
Yeah,
and
there's like a head honcho.
Yeah, they talk about boss, and then they talk about him. And it seems like him is some sort of religious figure, at least the way the anime subtitled it, capital him. And it seems like the demons are kind of reporting to this maybe god type figure, like that would appease him. His meal is special.
And then they brought this like fluid to the desk, and then or the table, and then that was it.
Table. Yeah.
Well, and I think it was holding a flower.
Sorry. Yeah.
So that's ties back to the flower from the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are the ones that were receiving Isabel's report from Grandma. Isabel reports the demon's grandma. Only your plants. The grandma says only your plant can deliver the supreme goods that will be offered at the Tefari. We have no idea what that means. The Tefari. Maybe the Tefari is the god. Like, is it a council? Is it a place?
Yeah,
right?
it's an ambiguous noun. That's what it is.
Yes. Andy, what do you think of that line?
Dylan, I want to talk to you here because these two are no help.
Yeah.
This whole episode, like every time they introduce something new to me, I'm like, oh, we're gonna learn something, and then I learned nothing. Like I just feel like they just threw all this stuff at me. And it feels like it's going to be really important. Like, I feel like I'm going to come back and, like, see this scene or this episode again and be like, wow, they were foreshadowing so much. But right now, it just feels like I have no idea what's going on. Ooh. And so that's kind of what my intro was about earlier. Like, I'm kind of just waiting to see how this stuff is going to culminate still. Because right now, Tefari means nothing.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The first episode was so concrete with what we presented. Like we showed the demons, we said this is a farm, and now I think that in this episode we're kind of doing the thing that we're like praising them for not doing in the first episode, which is we're just hinting vaguely at things that don't mean anything to us yet. Sometimes we don't in this episode. Some things are like definitively presented. Like we talked definitively about the tracking devices. We like find out where they are.
Yeah, they found them. That was quick.
So there's some things that we're moving quickly and presenting, but then there's other things like this demon scene. That's the reporting and then seeing them actually. It doesn't mean a lot to me watching it. That's not going to be the highlight of the episode. I was hoping for demons, but what they showed us was kind of nothing because it just doesn't mean anything to me yet.
Have you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist, like Brotherhood? That's why I got the idea that the head, like homunculus, he was disguised as a human child. So I'm kind of thinking, man, one of these like
look. So I did. So anybody. Yeah, we'll talk about the. Okay, let's move to the traitor because that
head honcho could be right in the farm right now. The head honcho.
Right. That is the trope on a lot of these things.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I'd like that for this kind of show.
I wouldn't like that. That's dumb.
Well, so at the end they say there's a traitor here. Again, this is speculation among the three of the leads.
Yeah. I wish the show would more clearly tell me whether the show knows this is speculation. Like sometimes it feels like the show treats what they're saying as fact. And I think
it's treating everything they're saying as fact. However,
that's very important. And that's like, again, like what I was saying last time, when I was reading it, I'm like, so they're like thinking all these things. Are they going to turn out to be wrong? Do we know? And it's not that they're perfect, but like, I think we have to look at them as three like insanely brilliant children who can come to these realizations very quickly, and the show is going to show you whether or not it's true, but it will treat it as fact until proven otherwise, essentially.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's doing. The issue is that like it takes us below the surface level analysis to understand that it's just speculation. Like all you have to do is step back for a second, and so it's like almost nothing. None of it is real because it's like okay, all of this is just speculation.
But the series, though, they really want you to think, though, the way they presented it, that Phil is the traitor. The way they
I think they're clearly presenting Gilda as the traitor in this episode.
Yeah, no,
Gilda's the one who seems shady.
And Crone looks directly at her last.
Yeah. Like, also, I have no idea who Phil is, so that hurts that.
No, but as soon as they say there's a traitor among us, then he pops up on the screen.
Okay.
That's
Phil isn't real. Phil is not real.
Okay, so I'll look for the person that pops up when they say the traitor.
Maybe it's Connie. Maybe it's
rip Connie. No, it's the thing with Gilda. It's the scene with the demon bite, but then also like later, like we cut to her a few times, and it seems like she's like surveying them. Like it's pretty on the nose to the point where and do you think that's a red herring? It's not Gilda.
I think it's definitely a red herring. I think this is. But it's interesting because it feels like it's a red herring specifically for it's like one of the first times it feels like it's a red herring for the audience and not the kids. Because usually when they
don't think it's Gilda yet,
yeah, like that's interesting to me. Because usually, like when we in this show, it feels like every time we see something scary, it's also scary for the kids. And this time, it's not really scary for them. That we think Gilda's. I'm interested how they're going to portray that. Was what I'm trying to say.
Well, interesting if there is Gilda, because so far, the important characters have all been female. Like Emma's the main lead. You got Isabella, Crone. So if if it is Gilda, it's another female character playing a prominent role in this show.
Yeah, I definitely like that in this show.
So I think it's worth pausing. What does the traitor even mean? Because Gilda's 10, as she says in this episode. Blake,
Yeah.
that's another reason to think it's her.
Or maybe, like I said, what if the traitor is actually a demon disguise and they keep changing forms like every
Right. So
few
that's
years?
a possibility. This could be a demon. It could be like an
Shapeshifter.
adult woman
Shapeshifter.
disguise, maybe demon technology.
Oh, maybe
They
it's
talk
someone like Koi. Maybe like when he eat, like maybe it's the type of demon that can kill a human and they take their form like Koi.
Okay. We don't need to get into all the demons from other mythology, but
Yeah.
It could. I think that's a thought I did have watching the episode. Is what if it's a demon in disguise? I think like we talk about demon technology as well in this episode, even though the tracker ends up probably not being demon technology. So that's a possibility that it's like they can convert a mom into a kid. But I just don't understand how it could be like a child unless they're like mind controlling them or something. Like what is she like? How are they watching through her? There has to be like they have to be seeing through her eyes or something.
And their technology doesn't seem that legit because we learned that. So, like, here's the thing. Like, yeah, these kids speculate a lot. Is it all true? But they were, like, dead right about there being actual trackers on their bodies.
Well,
like, it was a hunch that
Super smart.
Isabella had a tracker device, but then they found the actual tracker in the kids' ear. So, like, that paid off. And the other thing is, one thing that Ray was saying about that was that they couldn't identify people based on the tracking information. It's like you look at it, you see dots, right? But you don't know who those dots are. So Isabella has like a very strong hunch who saw the thing by the gate, but she doesn't exactly know.
We'll get back to
So
that.
their
thought,
technology is like it's like advanced, but it's not like dead on.
The
So
technology,
idea
the technology we've
yeah.
seen, I think, from the tracker and the tracking device, right? So that's kind of all we know about.
I'm convinced that there are either cameras or microphones in all the clocks in the house. Every single one of them.
Ooh,
in the clocks, especially.
Every single one of them. Like I think, because like they keep saying with complete certainty there are no cameras and there are no microphones.
Remember, Don said, "Can you help me fix this clock?" Before, so Don's the traitor, and he needed the spy device fixed.
Oh, Don. Well, he was the one who was in the first episode closest to Connie. So in the murder mystery,
the thing is, we don't know anyone's name except for Don and Gilda. So like, it has to be one of the.
I didn't even know Gilda's name until you said it again, Dylan. I just like.
Well, in the episode they say Don and Gilda. That's one of the lines.
Oh,
so,
did
yeah,
they? Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she even got Don and Gilda. Like that was a blatant line to me. So like, I don't know any of the other kids' names, so it has to be one of these two.
And also, Don and Gilda were in that first conversation in episode 1 when in all the forest.
Yeah,
so clearly
they're
supposed to be big.
Yeah.
You know, if would make sense if the spy is a female, so maybe someone they're grooming to be a mother in the future. So
I just think there isn't a traitor at all. I just think there's cameras in the house. Like that's all I think it is. I think they're
paranoia among
I think they're just looking for more answers than there are. Like I think there's less than there is.
What if you're right, Andy? There's no traitor, but because they're so paranoid, they hurt one of the kids' feelings and they become a traitor. They turn to the dark side.
I don't think Emma could ever hurt one of these kids.
Yeah,
like never. Not in.
I'm not saying her, but maybe Ray or Norman.
Okay, I could see that. Ray could
say, you thought a traitor? You thought a traitor? Okay, I'll show you. I've seen that before. I've seen that in other shows. It's like, I'll show you. I'll turn to the dark side.
But what? There's no dark. They don't know the dark side exists though, so that doesn't. That have to be a thing.
Like they'd only know there's a quote unquote dark side.
But they trust Isabella and they trust her. So
right, they could just rat out what they say. Yeah, to Isabella. That's possible. Anyway, the traitor thing. This is classic anime.
Yeah,
a little sick of the last season. I already had a show with the release of Spice with the traitor thing the entire time. I hope it's that was handled pretty well. We'll see. I don't know if this is going to be such. I don't expect this to be like a 10 episode thing. Like this is probably like the show moves fast. So this will probably be.
I'm pretty sure each big quote unquote plot thing has been like a 1 episode deal. So I think we're going to get the traitor next episode.
I hope
there's one.
I hope it's not a My Hero Academia thing, which they have yet to reveal the traitor in that series.
It's been like
that's how it usually goes.
Spoiler.
That series. Okay, sorry. Okay,
I don't
edit that out, Dylan.
No. It's not. It's not a spoiler. It's been 2 years.
Okay.
It's been 2 years since they've said there's a traitor.
Okay. Interesting. Let's get back to Crone here because so the things we know, Crone and Isabella. I want to tie back to also something Steve said about like does Isabella know, because this is a question looming over the entire episode. Because when Crone and Isabella talk, Isabella says, I already know which two it is. So that's a thing. She just says that to Crone. Says, I think I know what two it is. She's trying to, that being said, she's possibly trying to dissuade Crone from reporting them. She's like, I've got this under control. I know who it is.
And I think Isabella's smart enough to know that Crone has her own agenda too. So she's probably playing, she's a master chess player.
And one of the big things with Crone is that, yeah, Isabella, I do think Isabella would know that Crone would do something on her own. The conclusion Crone comes to in that creepy doll scene is that she wants to betray Isabella and capture the two children, turn them in, and then get Isabella fired so she can be the new mom. So that's Crone's motivation the entire time.
One thing I don't know about Crone, though, I don't think she would be a very good chess player because she doesn't play very close to the vest. She just lets everyone. She's pretty obvious her intention.
Well, yeah, this is the next thing she says when she's chasing Emma. She says, "Listen, Emma, if you saw the harvest that day," so she basically tells Emma she's suspecting her. She says, "Then I'm on your side," which I didn't really understand.
I think she was trying to get Emma to like. I just think that.
I think
Emma was just trying to get Emma to like admit it so that she could be like, "Yep, that's you."
That was the big like horror moment of the episode was when she finds them. It's like but it wasn't really that surprising because we knew that she was chasing them. But it was still I still really liked that. And yeah, she's just blatantly like she thinks she thinks it's one of the two of the three of them, the oldest ones, and she has a scene where with Norman and Ray as well. And like they're like worried she overheard them. Then she blatantly tells Emma she's onto them. So definitely seems like Crone kind of is on the right track here. Isabel in the beginning, it seems like she gave Crone the necessary information to come to that conclusion. So you'd think Isabel would have the right information, but then at the end of the episode, the kids say it doesn't seem like Mom suspects us anymore. Also, there's some time that passed before that scene, so it seemed like most of the stuff in the episode happened. Then there's a few days, and then they're like, "Oh, it's cooled down. I don't think she suspects us." But I think we're meant to think the kids are wrong at the end. I think that we're supposed to understand that Crone and Isabella probably do know.
Yeah.
That's my impression, at least. I think it's unclear, but yeah.
I think the show could do better at being clear about whose perspective we're supposed to be in. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the kids say something and it's like you said, Michelle, we're supposed to take it as gospel, but it doesn't feel right sometimes. Just how wrong they are, because like they definitely know. Like
this is the first time that I thought that they're blatantly wrong at the end of this episode.
That's the thing. Like, when I say that, I don't mean that we shouldn't question them.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get it.
But it's but it is true that before the show has said that they were right. But my thing is, I'm saying like this at the end here. I think that this is the show also presenting contradictory information within the same episode to what they're saying, which is definitely notable.
Yeah,
that's dangerous because they think they're safe, and we know that they're probably not safe. They need to still have their guard up.
I'm just still kind of on edge waiting for something bad to happen, because I don't know how long I can stay invested in this like cat and mouse of nothing really changing, because right now nothing has really happened.
Oh, Connie
so
says,
Andy, who's dying of the main three then?
I don't think one of the main three is dying yet.
But we don't care. We don't care about anyone else though. Yeah,
but Emma does. I think someone else.
Emma cares about everyone.
I think Gilda's gonna die.
Yeah, I could see Gilda being the red herring for the traitor and then actually be the one that dies. Yeah, I could see that.
That's another trope too. Like you suspect someone's a traitor and then they sort of die at the end to prove their worth. Yeah. And I hate that trope. But
but what I think might happen, Dylan, is someone's gonna die, but not due to the harvest. I think someone's gonna like die while playing tag or something. They'll fall off a tree or something, like break their neck or something, right. And like we'll have to deal with that. And we'll have to deal with the kids seeing death, and that'll spiral things out of control or something.
Interesting. Does seem like there's a lot of dangerous tag happening. Like some intense tag that they're playing.
Well, tag seems pretty dangerous, and I'm kind of convinced someone's going to get hurt while doing it.
Wait, how about another person suspect? how about Carol? You think could she maybe?
Carol is a
She should
child,
just-
so
yeah, she
well, they're all
just-
children. But this is she's like 2, right? This is don't know.
She came in the same time as Sister Crone, so
Yeah.
suspicious.
I think the scene with Carol, the scene of Emma, and then Carol holds her finger, and Emma's just it's wow. That was I think really good. That was good for displaying Emma's the main trait of her caring so much about everyone.
Also, I just want to say, I'm completely convinced they're all gonna have to cut off their ears now. They're all there's gonna be a scene of all these children cutting off their ears. That's all I can think about.
Well, okay, so let's get to that tracker. Let's go to that tracker scene, because they say that they have an idea of how to Ray's I have an idea of how to get rid of them, but then we don't really get it because they determined that they have to disable the trackers only when they escape.
Because they assume that if they try to dismantle it, it would give off a signal, or the lack of signal would alert everyone to the orphanage.
Yeah,
but if they just cut off their ears and they're just still intact, it's fine.
Yeah, well, that hypothetically that would be fine. It would
just throw all their ears in a bucket.
And then Isabella comes to this hill, and there's just a bunch of ears on there where all the dots were.
I 100% believe this show would do something like
it would definitely.
Just throw it to those demon lackeys for scraps. Give them something to eat.
Yeah, I forgot about the lackeys. We say, are the lackeys on that council that we saw before? I don't know.
Dude, I just realized the lackeys are probably gonna be the season finale of this show. They're gonna be the kids are gonna see see them at some point.
No, I think we're moving too fast for that. I think.
Do you think we are?
Sooner.
I'm not sure. I can't peg down how fast we're going.
Yeah.
If they are the final boss of the season, then I could definitely see perhaps maybe Isabella turning and maybe finally just have some empathy, just realize she's what a scummy stump she's done for the last few years and be her last act of redemption.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see redeeming traits of Isabella currently.
No.
Yeah, she's reporting. She's trying to keep. The only redeeming thing is you kind of get the sense of the danger that she's in, maybe just by how vehemently she's trying to keep her position. That's kind of the only thing. Why can't she just say that she failed and that the two kids are turn the 2 kids in, they were traitors, but she's just covering everything up.
Well, she has that reputation, right? This goes back to everything Crone says, just we get her outside perspective of one, I haven't been in an orphanage for a while, if ever. And 2, Isabella is the head honcho of multiple, there are multiple farms. She's farm 3. Oh. She says that to grandma. So we know there are multiple farms, and her farm is known for having the best kids out of everyone. So she has the most coveted position. For her to make a mistake, she would totally lose her title and maybe worse. So,
right. So
of course she's not going to want anyone to find that out.
Oh, I'm curious about other moms. One of other moms, they treat their children more horribly, typical fictional orphanages with house mothers.
So maybe she gets the best results because she pulls the wool over their eyes. That's possible. A big thing that the episode presents is is her being Isabella being the best. She's having the best farms, the highest number of high quality goods. So I do think her reputation's on the line, but I think it's definitely not unreasonable to assume that also her life might be on the line here.
Yeah, no, totally. I think they would totally find somebody else. I'm
not sure though. Demons would eat adults, so they might just kill her. And
right. Well, there's probably a reason why we stop at 12 and the auto harvest. Maybe for some reason. Prepubescent children are particularly edible to them.
I just think there's different aged farms. I think there's a 12
possible.
to
I think it's definitely either that it's pre-puberty, you have to eat them, or there's different aged farms. The 12 thing seems so blatant, I guess.
I also, before we move off Isabella, I might be crazy, but in the scene where she's talking to grandma, I just remembered this. I don't know, but I thought I saw numbers on her neck, the tattoo of the kids, but it was really hard to tell because of the angle we were at with her, because we were behind her.
We should go back and check that. Yeah.
I couldn't tell. It was kind of cut off. Looked like there was stuff sticking up from her collar, but I couldn't tell if that was just weird shadows or not.
I didn't notice either. I always assumed though that every adult was at one point
I had
shadow.
Well, so the thing that would support the fact that the adults maybe at some point were on some sort of farm is that Crone in the beginning says, "Thank you for the opportunity to return to this side." So if this side just consists of farms, then she was there before, but this side might also just be the human realm, and she might have been like and also all of them were probably there with the preparing 1-year-olds thing, which they talk about in the beginning. But we don't know necessarily for sure if all the moms are on the same track as the kids that are going to be eaten. Like maybe they raise them separately for employment versus for eating. But none of these are all things I do appreciate that the episode posited these questions because we talked about that last week. So the show kind of has is understanding and has these same things in mind that we were talking about, that the audience has these questions after they come up. The show isn't necessarily interested in answering them immediately, but is at least bringing them to the forefront of our minds, which implies an intent to answer them at some point.
Yes.
Back to Crone. So the end of the episode. So we decide to train the kids through playing tag with Emma, and then we get this montage of Emma, Norman, and Ray training them,
which is also half hide and seek as well.
Yeah, I guess tag inherently hide and seek.
When I was a kid, I remember those two games were separate. We never really combined them, but.
Yeah, their tag, I guess, is slightly different, but I love this the training thing. Like, I think this was really like a good idea to tie back in the tag theme with the strategy, with the caring for everyone. Like, I think it's like tying together a lot of good themes from the show and plot things, and I thought it was a really good scene. And then we get Crone, her wanting to play tag, and she is like running really hard throughout the entire forest, looking really unhinged with her faces. But she like looks unhinged, but she's clearly not unhinged because she's very like strategic and capable, I guess, is what I'd say. So like we know that she's a real threat. Briefly on Crone, I have to mention this, at least this is a frequent thing with anime, is that the exaggeratedness of her features and also her expressions is not great combined with her being a dark-skinned character, right? Like that's something anime does a lot. It's like that's what's holding me back from standing Crone a lot, is that it's like it seems a little bit racist, but
it's hard to tell because we haven't seen Isabella do anything really physically yet, Dylan. Like if Isabella acts like this when she's just is like physically active, like running around like this, like maybe it's okay, but right now I kind of agree with you. It's strange that our one dark-skinned character looks like this.
If this was an anime for children, and when they dubbed it here, they would have to censor her, like reanimate her face or something, like and her skin or something, which is like Pokemon did one time with one character because Japan sometimes. And, like, you know how many Pokemon episodes have been banned because of their blackface?
Ugh.
Okay. It's I think Japan sometimes is a good reaction to this. Like
Japan sometimes.
I do like that the show is presenting her is like capable and a nuanced character, and all of that's good.
And also before we move on from Crone, also she mentioned that she had taken all the tests too, which also implies she was an orphan.
Did she take that? When did she say that?
She said this should be easier than she said this should be easier than getting perfect scores every morning, every day. Like or something like that.
Okay, I don't know
that's
if that
really interesting. I mean, that implies that Sister Crone was like a top student at one point.
Yeah,
because that's what our kids do at our orphanage, right?
Yeah, that didn't even to me jump out enough to write down as being definitive, I guess. But yeah,
I don't think it was definitive, Dylan, but it definitely is continuing. Yeah. It's more evidence for the pile.
Mm-hmm. For the what?
The pile.
For the pile. The pile of evidence that's growing.
Yeah. Oh, the pile of evidence that she was once on a farm,
or at least all the moms are, or at least
all the moms came from farms.
On the farms.
Yeah, I still don't understand how that system works of extracting moms versus kids. So that's something that. But anyway,
I'm sure all the moms like had like the high perfect scores, but I kind of wonder what determines whether to continue raising them to be moms and sisters or just to eat them. Do they flip a coin to see who?
Right, because it seems like they're going to eat. Seems like Emma would be a good mom, but they're going to eat her. So, but that's not.
Emma would be a perfect mom. She's already sort of my mom at her age.
I know, right? She already loves everyone.
I mean, you would think maybe at least Isabel's smart enough to realize that, would go to higher ups and say, maybe we should reconsider eliminating Emma.
Maybe Isabella's too concerned with delivering her high quality stock. And they tell her they tell her all the other farms are doing poorly.
Yeah, all the farms
right
now we're counting on your good.
Yeah, that's interesting for the future plot. I assume it's going to matter to when we get out of here. There's going to be a reason for why things aren't going well at the other farms.
I don't know why Isabel's not pulling little a Darth Vader with Emma, trying to turn her to her side. Why? Maybe if you behave, maybe I can groom you and spare you, and you can become a mom and live a long life just like me, little one. I would do that. That'd be a good story.
You would do that?
Well,
okay.
You would do that if that's your only option.
No, as an author, I would do that in the story.
Not Steve as the mom in the story. Okay.
As a writer.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's a good way to look at it. Is what you would do writing the story. I'm always that's the best way to predict future stuff. I've said that before in Ruby and stuff. But in this crone tag scene, and then we talked about the thing with Emma, and if you saw the harvest that day to Emma, then she's chasing Norman and Ray, but she runs out of time. And this is the thing with Gilda. At the end of the episode, she says, Norman, Ray, Emma. So she specifically points them out as suspects or whatever she's saying. And then she smiles at Gilda. That's the thing with Gilda. Yeah. She's smiling at Gilda.
I kind of wondered if she didn't know Gilda's name yet, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I also did.
3 of their names. There's a 4th one. I don't know what to call her.
I kind of wish she did say Gilda's name, because I was like, wait, I forgot her name. Please say it again.
Yeah.
Four eyes.
No, they said at one point one kid said Don.
Yeah, but Dylan,
I barely got it, but yeah, it's true. But yeah, that's a big reason to speculate.
Maybe she just she just gives little nicknames for each kid and just based on facial expression. Emma is the athletic, and Ray the emo, and Norman the nerd, and just give them little nicknames like that.
That's easier to remember.
I also kind of think this is supposed to be foreshadowing. When she lists all 3 of the main 3 characters weaknesses, I feel like we're going to see all 3 of them fail in these ways in the coming episodes.
Oh yeah, I was about to say she lists all their weaknesses. Shades of White Diamond this week.
For what, maybe a week? And
well, it's because I got that. It's because she was told to memorize the reports. I think that's why the files.
Yeah. Also, that's the other reason why. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are there weaknesses a part of the reports though?
Probably.
That seems like a weird thing to list. I thought it was their height and weight and eye color.
I would assume it's their disposition as well, because they're supposed to keep them happy. So they would probably know what makes them happy, and that would be in the reports as well.
I'm sure, like I said, I keep mentioning, I'm sure they have to have some of these people be future mothers, so they're sure they have to test that too. Who's the best candidate?
That would be a reason to do that, yeah. She, by the way, is Crone running through the forest with clocks, in the first episode.
Yes, yeah, I definitely like
that. I don't remember Tag really having a clock, so... And by the way, in real life training, you're running for your life, you don't have a clock.
Yeah, it is. I see what you're saying about Hysen, because she's counting, and then there's a time limit. Okay. But yeah, and the clock thing, and then the clocks contain images of her interacting with the children.
I really love this consistent imagery, Dylan. I really do. I like that we're calling back to these things, because it means that it just means it'll be so much more impactful when we do it in the real time it happens. It'll probably be a lot more tense. I'm really like what they're doing here, showing this again.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I was worried that we'd lose the imagery. Bloom and 2 changed a little bit from the first episodes into the middle, and then it got it back at the end. This episode's been a little bit more consistent directorial. That's been good. And but getting back, brief things here to close out from the end of this episode. Back to this first scene, we're talking about the tracking device. I mentioned the alien technology. Here's a line that stood out to me was. That kind of product wouldn't exist in 2015, is what the subtitle said.
While standing in front of a map of our Earth, with 2045 above it.
Right. So first I was like, "Oh, is this they subbed this wrong? It's supposed to be 2045." Then I was like, "Oh, wait, did the kids think it's 2015?" But then I looked back at the calendar from episode 1, but no, the calendar says 2045. So the kids at least have access to that.
They will have in 2015. Very
I don't
primitive.
remember if that was a thing in the manga. What I remember essentially was that they have books and stuff. They like books and toys and technology.
Maybe
And the oldest like the newest book is like from 2015. So like they assume that is the time frame. But maybe now that they do know it's 2045, I feel like that was a thing that was revealed, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, no,
it's on a calendar that they see.
They hang it in the main hall. It's on the
I
main
guess
hall.
they know it's 2045 then.
Yeah, but that really confused me the first time. The 2015 line.
2045, the 100-year anniversary of the end of World War II. I wonder if they're gonna celebrate that occasion, or probably not since it's Japan.
Okay.
It's Japan.
But Dylan, I think that 2015 thing, I think this episode was the first time it felt like we were losing some things from the manga. This is the first time it feels like we had to cut some things for time, and I'm not sure what things we lost. Like maybe we lost an explanation for why they thought it was 2015, among other things.
I think it's supposed to be a mystery, like that'll be answered.
I don't see any. It's not 2015. I don't see any hoverboards, so.
Okay, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
But yeah, it's the implication from that line is that their knowledge of technology only goes up to the time when the start of the manga is written. So, but yeah, it seems like that I would expect maybe that the Earth was invaded by aliens at that point, or that they were all captured and taken back. That would be evidence for that.
So maybe they're keeping secrets from the human society, these demons, so they have a little advantage. Like they have 30-year technology advantage over humanity if they ever get to a confrontation.
Did Isabella ever tell them where their farm is in the world? Like, is that something the kids know?
No.
Okay.
No, all they know is that they're farm 3. And we know that there are more farms. That's it.
I don't think they know their farm, but
but I mean, did Isabella give them a lie? Like, did Isabella lie to them about where they are? Maybe, like, did she tell them, "Oh, we're in Texas," when they're not actually?
Well, she lied about it being an orphanage. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so it's her possibility of lying. Odds have gone up. The door is open.
The odds have gone up.
Yeah, it's a lot unclear. It seems like they're raised very generically. That's the impression I think I got from the first episode. But more could be revealed about that. Last thing I got is Norman and Ray are like washing the dishes, and then they're like implying that they're gonna have to kill Mom and Isabella and Crone before so to avoid them reporting to the demons.
Again, that's something we talked about in the first episode. I mentioned that too. I'm curious though, would Emma like have the fortitude to actually go through with that to kill Mom?
That'd be a Norman task, I think.
Yeah. That'd be a Norman task or a Ray task.
Oh, Ray. I think Ray. He's the one who's like most like.
Well, remember Norman last episode says, "I'll use my abilities to protect them," or like she.
Maybe his abilities aren't murder though. Maybe they're just like book skills.
You think he can do it? I feel like that's anyone's potential ability, right? Like, could do it.
First, if you want someone to get the job done, you gotta go to Phil. He's the guy to kill.
Phil, who's that? I don't know who that is.
He's alone.
Dylan, I think this actually ties into Ray's saying he had like a plan. Like, I think Ray's plan is just kill Isabella and Crone instead of dealing with the trackers.
That's true. That would mean you'd have to take out unless the demons also have a copy,
demons could have trackers though. That's the bad plan. They could track them wherever they go.
Well, who knows? I'm not saying the kids are gonna have a perfect plan, Michelle. I'm saying this is what the characters do.
That's possible.
I could see Ray wanting to kill the adults either way.
Yeah, because Crone said that Ray's weakness was that he gets impulsive, but then loses track of what he was going to do anyways. Like, it sounds like he loses steam, but he does things impulsively. Like, I could completely believe that just out of nowhere, he's like, okay, the quickest way to solve this problem is just to kill the adults, and then we're good.
I definitely think we're going to be killing either Isabella or Crone.
I think Norman,
one of our main characters' hands.
Weakness. I think Norman's weakness is Emma. Like, he doesn't want to do anything that would really upset her.
Let's keep that in mind. Yeah,
and Emma's weakness is like everyone.
They're going to kill Crone. Like, they're 100% going to kill Crone.
I think they could kill Isabella. That'd be more shocking.
I think they're going to play tag, Dylan. They're going to play tag with Crone and then kill her in the forest.
It'd be easier to.
God. That could be next episode.
I think you're right. It could be next episode.
It'd be easier to kill Crone because, like I said, they have no emotional attachment to her, so it'd be very, very simple.
I guess so. And then at the end of this Norman and Ray scene, they're like, Mom's closing in on us because they think they don't know that Crone and Isabella are working separately. That's another thing that contradicts the end of the episode. Maybe they're being, they don't suspect us anymore. Maybe that's for Emma's sake and not for like when they're together that they admit that. I don't know. All of that's very confusing. Like what they think of the state of, whether they're found out or not. So maybe some clarity on that next week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
maybe they'll escape next week.
Yeah, they'll just escape next week.
Episode 4, they're already out.
I could see the escape attempt definitely being before the finale. Like, I think same. I would expect that.
I could see that as the mid-season, Dylan. Like, I could see that episode 6 we start escaping. Like, I have no idea what.
And then something goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, I have no idea what the pace of this season is. I have no.
It's hard to tell. Yeah, but good stuff this week at the very least. A lot of more potential questions. Maybe some. We think we have some answers on things. Who's the we're thinking Gilda for the traitor. Steve is positing Phil, even though that's a fake person. And there's a lot of questions surrounding where they are and what's going on with Isabel and Crone and where they came from, and so a lot of interesting stuff to potentially get into next week. Michelle, final thoughts here.
I want to find out about the traitor. I mean, yes. I'm assuming that's what they're going to tackle in episode 4. I want to see how far it goes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Andy.
I want something I want actual like plot progression, because right now we're just setting stuff up, and I want to see not necessarily someone die, but I want to see us see somebody on either the adults or the kids' side make a move, and I hope we get to that point next episode.
I want to go back to the past of Crone or Isabella when they were kids. I just want to learn more about them.
Could see a flashback at some point. It seems early for a
flashback.
Yeah.
But
I kind of have a most attachment to them. I kind of sort of care about them as much as I do Emma and the others. It's
no, they're evil. Don't do that's not good.
I want to believe there's good in them. I want to believe there's good in somebody.
They could be we'll see. We'll get more information. But good start from Crone at least, and good more continued stuff from as well. That's it there for this week. Let us know what you thought of the episode. What are you speculating? No spoilers in the comments though. At overlyanimated.com, at youtube.com/overlyanimated. Talk about it with us on our Discord at overlyanimated.com/Discord, on our anime channel, or support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our Patreon podcast, Taylor, aka Needle, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. I believe Needle has threatened to watch the show, but has not gone through with it. So Needle, watch the show, but he might listen to the podcast. That's more likely. But we'll see.
Okay, we'll spoil the whole show for you. So if you don't want to watch it, Needle.
He gets spoiled anyway. And yes, we'll be back next week for episode 4. Also check out other stuff at overlyanimated.com, including Steven Universe, Ruby, Young Justice Outsiders. I think that's no promises. And find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.